SMSL Q5 Pro, FXAudio D802. These are here. These exist in the world for people who don't need surround sound but need the benefits of a receiver. Now, you can use them on a desk, computer desk. Yes, absolutely. But the real reason these amps exist is for the remote controls. Because you could hook it up to your television, you could output to it via SPDIF, you could use all the internal HDMI switching, and then you could control the volume on speakers. Because most of the times, that one can, but most TVs are just a SPDIF out and it's a locked output and you're done. So these two amps, which are competing, this is the new boy on the block, and this is the revision, the redo of the Q5. And this Pro fixes all the issues I had with the Q5. All of them. Every single issue is gone. So this one is solid, and this one is new. On the back, we've got a 3.5mm auxiliary stereo input, so you can hook it up to your phone or whatever. They moved the USB to a micro instead of a big, I don't know, it was weird. Optical input, coaxial input, subwoofer output. So a legit sub out on that, and obviously 5-way binding posts and your power. Now the FXAudio here, which is heavy, way heavy. The back has fiber optic, coaxial, full size USB, left and right, 5 ways, and then power. So lacking in an analog input. But really, most of the time, that's, you have to have a real specific need for, I need an analog input for that to make sense. Form factors are pretty similar. I mean, the width is, you're either going with the fat and wide Q5, or you're going with the long and skinny FX. And you should keep this in mind, since if you're going to use this for your television, let's say you're going for a real downscale, you could almost hide this, like behind your TV. Got to make sure that the remotes can touch. The front controls on the Q5 here are power, and then source switch, and then this is a tone control menu, and volume, and then tone control. Here we have, again, push mode knob. This has a select and mute, so you could select the inputs here, and power on off is a separate switch. Remote controls. Biggest problem with the Q5 was the remote. And this is much better. Aluminum, solid. Feels good. Feels quality. Says SMSL in it. Now the FXAudio Music World is a little less nice. Just a little less nice. Power, mute, three choices, up, down, bass, treble. We'll get to those in a second. We're going to plug them in. One thing you should know is that the power bricks for these are about the size of the units themselves. There's the FXAudio, and there's the Q5. So they're big. So if you're going to put one of these in your living room, you got to concern yourself with where you're putting it, and you got to concern yourself with where you're putting that. Now, the SMSL is a 19 volt 5 amp, and the FXAudio is a 32 volt 5 amp. Yet they both have very similar power ratings. So there you go. Plug it in. Loud pop because China. Does this make a loud pop as well? Hold on. Oh, sparks. Sparks! Yes, that does happen. On a lot of these like T-amps. They just spark. There's nothing to be afraid of. It doesn't happen unless you unplug and plug it in. It's just making a connection. Do not fear the power. Now, Q5 interface, real simple. 20 is the volume, which I just turned it. That's supposed to be decibels, even though it says 08. That's as close as I can get. It's telling me what input we're on. It says we're on volume, so I could raise and lower the volume. I think it goes to 60. Yeah, it goes to 60. It remembers where your volume is set when you shut it off. The previous Q5 did not do that. Bass now goes from 0 to -9 and +9. along with treble, instead of some arbitrary fucking middle of the ground. And then here, you want to switch inputs. 1, 2, 3, 4. Simple. Now, this has a much higher quality screen. Not as easy to read as that, but definitely high quality. It actually looks like the screen from like a, what the fuck is a little player? The little tiny player that I like, the little player. Whatever. Anyway, so volume there is 37. What does it go to? 45. You see I'm turning this knob, and I can turn the knob on this as fast as I want and it's fine. And the rotary encoder in this isn't as good because it's like, if I turn it slowly, it goes click, 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 and it's fine. If I go fast, it sort of like stutters. But hopefully you won't be using the knob any. Wow, we go all the way to 100. 99 is what the volume goes to on this. So if you're, I mean, this is going to be so much easier from like a couch. Assuming you're buying these for a living room situation where you just need stereo, maybe 2.1. You're going to have a little remote. You're able to see the volume on the Q5 better than you're able to see the volume. There. That goes to 0. This only goes to 1. We hit that. It shows you bass, plus and minus. What'll it do? Plus and minus 14. So more steps of bass and treble control. I'm going to leave that on 0. Input select. USB coaxial optical, USB coaxial optical. That's all it says. Now obviously it powers off. It says bye-bye. Bye-bye. Takes a while to shut off. You gotta hold it for a second. Just a second. Welcome, music world. FXAudio and so it remembers it. Ooh, nice click. Mute. Oh, because I have the volume all the way down. I don't know why that red mute is on. We're gonna find out if that works in a second. Now. I'm going to hook these both up USB. They both have USB, so they'll both work on a computer, which is nice. So you're doing a home theater PC, and you don't want to go with a full 5.1 setup right now. For under $150, you can get either one of these. This one's actually cheaper. There is a version of this with a Bluetooth antenna. That's like $40 more. And I just simply didn't go for that because you could add here. Actually, no, you can't add to this with this. It's got to be digital. This only takes digital. So you could Chromecast into this with the SPDIF and the SPDIF wire. So that's sort of like, if you want Bluetooth, you either got to buy the more expensive version of this, or you've got to buy the Pro and add one of these. That, by the way, is an MPOW Bluetooth adapter. We're going to hook up now. I've got the SVS Prime bookshelves. We'll do the new kid first. Full 5-way binding posts. You just plug right in. Don't ask me about these wires. I made them years ago. Awesome. Love this flat wire. I wish they would still make 12 gauge. Horizon 12 gauge Megaflex high definition flat speaker cable. Done, done, done. Oh, you suck. All right. We'll use this wire. Actually, no, wait. This is a full-size USB. I gotta use this. Here we go. I gotta flip it the right way. Installing device software. Let's see what it says. All right, it's detecting it as a name. Now we wait. Getting ready to use. Getting ready to use. So can you use this on your desk? Sure. Right now, here, sure. It's going to work just fine. I don't know why you need a remote control if you're sitting at your desk, though. Get a... I guess if you want to combine a DAC and amp, a DAC and speaker amp, then here's your two answers. I need a DAC and a speaker amp. No headphones, though, and no headphone outputs. No way to output two headphones. So keep that in mind. This is you're better off usually at a desk with a DAC with a headphone out and then a separate speaker amp, because now you have 2 points of entry. So now you got a good DAC, good headphone amp, and then you get your whatever speaker amp you want. Just tack it on. That combination is probably, actually that one's too much. That's costs more. We are hooked up. We are live. We are ready to use. Let's put on Musax. Actually, I don't want to put on too much Musax. All right, what am I using? I'm using, actually, let me see what the settings are first. Playback devices. Properties. Now, supported formats. DTS and Dolby. This will probably not decode because it's only stereo. But we're going to put on all the hertz. It actually is 176, which is interesting. Put the level up. We get all the way to 2-channel, 24-bit, 96 kilohertz. Decent. Decent. Let's try this again. I'm going to wasabi a vent to it. Now, so we're on USB. Volume. All right, that's 39 out of 99. And it's kicking these SVS's ass. Can I lower the volume without it? No. Yes. Now let's play with the tone controls for a bit. So there's individual bass and treble, and then there's EQ and tone. What does that do? There's a tone button that changes its sound entirely. EQ flat, let's say EQ. Rock. Soft rock, jazz, classical, dance, pop, soft, hard, fart. I guess tone means interesting. Gotta give it a second for it to click on. So what tone does is turn tone controls on and off. So if you're a purist like I am, you're gonna hit tone and you're gonna, what, it just says tone, it doesn't say EQ. Oh, I gotta get real close. See EQ vocal, and you can change EQ to all these different hip hop and dialogue and loudness. Just hit tone, it says tone, and tone is off. And now you gotta wait. Okay. Yes. So that works. I hope this isn't a song that gets me pulled. Actually, it might be. Jesus God, that would ruin everything. Book of Mormon, Postmodern Jukebox. Well, they get matches all the time. Okay. So this works. Now, let's move to the old standby power. Bye-bye. Again, you don't need to have banana plugs, but my God, does it make it easier. If you don't have banana plugs, let me unplug this and this. That's gonna freak that out. You'd unscrew the little 5-ways back here. And there's a hole there. It's actually this way. And you've got to put the speaker wire in that little hole there, then tighten this down, and it can be a pain. So I do recommend usually the monoprice bananas, because you just screw them on and then you just plug them in. Everything works great. So now we are using, where is it? This USB. A little tight. I may have plugged it in already on this thing and it's not going to have to recognize it, which would be great. Playback devices. There it is, SMSL Q5. Supported formats, again, goes up to 96. Level, spit of interface, full thing, full thing, full thing. Press play, which one I want to use. This is what I want to use. All right, so let's see. This got ridiculously loud at like 40 out of 100. So what does this do out of 60?
All of the people start to rush. How does she twist that dance? Can't find my drink.
Yeah, 30 out of 60 is loud. And these are pretty, they're not super efficient, but they're not hard to draw. They're speakers. Most speakers that you could the ELACs, you want to grab a set of the ELACs for your living room, you can get ELACs and this amp and plug it into your television, use your television as a switch, as an HDMI switch, SPDIF output into this, DAC in this uses it, boom. Now, what good would a Q5 be without a couple little bugs? So here's the remote, power obviously, bass treble, the center here just selects bass treble. All right, left and right does nothing. So it's just up and down as volume. So left and right are useless. Then you've got this button, which is input, auxiliary through USB. You get your equalizer, and there's E0, E1, E2, E3, E4, E5, E6, E7, and then E0 again. Now you could set those, I think, with the bass treble. Let's see, bass. And then there's mute. Get out of there. There's mute. You could hear a little click when it mutes. Flashes because it's muted. Then there's A, B, and C. You press A, and everything works as expected. But if you press B, nothing works. Press C, nothing works. Press A again, and it works just fine. So obviously, SMSL, very, very few companies make their own remotes, which is very fucked up. Even a goddamn Macintosh, a guy I know bought Macintosh preamps, and the remote controls that came with it looked like the goddamn X10 remote controls from like 1999. Because nobody makes their own remote controls. So SMSL went to somebody who had a really nice remote. Okay, look, it's perfect. It feels great in the hand. And it's just got these extra buttons, and for some reason they didn't program them to do nothing. So when you press A and up and down, and everything works. As soon as you press B or C, nothing happens. So just keep that in mind if you buy this. And actually, it might be good. You don't want your kids playing with it? Just press C, and they won't figure that fucking shit out. So yeah, either one of these works. Fully endorsed. Now, the sub out in here, I would sub somewhere, but I don't. So we're going to ignore that. And if you wanted to hook up a sub to either one of these, you could just use the speaker wire pass-throughs. You do not have to have a dedicated subwoofer out. It just makes life a little tiny bit easier. Just a little bit easier. Now, that's it. They're high quality, compact, powerful, lots of options. Cost less than a receiver, are smaller than a receiver. You don't get any surround sound out of it, obviously, but you know, if your TV sucks and you just want something better than your TV's audio, solution right here. Pick one. They both work. This one lacks an analog input, but I found no flaws in it. And the remote control in this has no stupid extra buttons. So there's just that. Yeah.